welcome to the technical briefing for June 2021. It has been a minute. First one of the year, which is quite telling, really. Obviously, it's been pretty busy with, well, for me, having taken over running the business. That's kind of meant I don't have as much time for some of these things as I'd like. But there's quite a lot to cover, so I thought it'd be a good chance to catch up and update everybody on what's been going on. I'm going to try and do these more frequently, just to try and back into the rhythm with them, particularly as we come up to Light and Building next year, where there's going to be a whole round of new product updates and changes. I think that is going to be telling really how that works. So we'll get into it. What have we got? So first of all, some Ivory Egg updates. So some things that have changed. First of all, some things we've added to the website. I'm sure a lot of you guys will have noticed some of these. The first is we've now got an in-stock filter on the search pages on the website. So when you're browsing, basically tick display products in stock, and it will display them. There will be there's still a few little bugs with it in terms of some things not coming up when they're in stock and some weird display issues, but we're just working on those last little bug fixes at the moment. So that's one thing. The other is hopefully you've seen the new quoting tool, maybe. So instead of quotes coming in PDF form like they always have, we can now send quotes from the website. They come through in an email, and then you can click the link, or you can click the products to go to the products on the website, but you can also just click the link and add the products straight to the basket. And then check out online. You could also save them. You can see them online as well if you log into your account. So just a cool, bit of a better way of really sharing information. We're still using it, getting used to using it. We haven't got quite, we still use the other quoting as we go. But yeah, we'll start to use it more and more as we go forward. The other big one, which is behind the scenes, and you guys won't have seen, but we've implemented SCA for payments. This is for making sure payments are secure. It's a requirement in a few months that all websites have to use it. It's been quite a lot of work behind the scenes to implement that on our payment gateway. So if you are checking out on the website using a credit or debit card, you can be assured that we are working to the latest standards and that everything is as secure as it possibly can be. So yeah, there's some other stuff, it's kind of some other things in the background we're working on. We are doing a bit of a market survey on some feedback for the website. Joe's going to be in touch with a few select people, but if you've got any suggestions or improvements or things that don't work or things you don't like or things that you wish would work, just ping us an email. Let us know on the website what you'd like to see. It's there for you guys to use. It's your tool more than anything. So please give us some feedback as to what you would like to see changed and improved. Cool. The other big change, or another big change at Ivory Egg, is around training. So we've been using, well, I was working quite hard with Cedia to get them to offer an online training course, which was launched a couple of months ago. I'm sure you guys have seen some press about it. The real reason for this was the KNX course is standardized. It's a standard course with standard content, so it really doesn't matter where you do it. We've always added extra content to it to make it more relevant and valuable. But I spent ages thinking about it. I was like, really, we just want this to be a standard course provided by a standard body, which Cedia are. So I supported them in creating this online hybrid course. The theory's online. You go in for the practical, which is a 2-day course. Same partner certification that you'd get if you did the course anywhere around the world. So we'll be supporting the Cedia course going forwards. If you're not a Cedia member and you've got some guys you want training, or yourself, which I don't imagine will be any of you, but if you did, then let us know and we can introduce you, and then you can get the Cedia discount rate. I am working on some new training offerings from Ivory Egg and how we help support the market with the information that you don't learn on the basic course, information around products and how to commission systems and how to really make things work as opposed to just how to use ETS. So watch this space. It's a pretty big project that I'm working on, but yeah, hopefully that's something that you'll be able to engage with going forward and will be suitable for yourselves. And if you're adding new people to the business as well, a great way to train new engineers. It's my kind of pet project, and I need to, it's a lot of work that I've got to really focus on. But for now, the basic course is, well, going forward, the basic course will always be something that we support Cedia on. There's lots of really good stuff coming out of Cedia at the moment. So if you're not a member, it's a really good chance to join up. A really good time to join up. The other update is around stock and lead times. It's variable at the moment. We are seeing, obviously everything's stabilized quite well with Brexit. It is a pain from us. You know, we're having to deal with customs on pretty much all orders coming into us. If we're buying from a company in the UK, then they're dealing with customs. So there are delays and there are, you know, hassles. A lot of it is around VAT and how we manage that effectively for the business. But we've kind of got all that sorted now. So we've streamlined that as much as possible, but it's still a pain. But for you guys, we're kind of protecting you from that. That's the point. That's what our job is, right? We insulate you from those kind of delays and risks and costs. So lead times, we're still quoting 2 to 3 weeks on most products. It depends on the manufacturer. Some manufacturers are taking longer. Some of them have more complicated processes now for dispatch, and it's taking them 4 days to process the order before they can send it. Other manufacturers are shipping it same day out to us. So it really does vary. We're working really hard to keep stock levels in the right place. You know, any feedback you've got around that, please let us know. If there's something that, you know, you're looking to buy regularly and it's not in stock, well, let us know and we'll see what we can do. But you know, we have held stock levels quite high, and we seem to be on top of that with, in terms of managing that and the delays coming in from the manufacturers. That being said, we're going into summer holidays, and a lot of our manufacturers take quite long holidays. Basalt, for example, and Basalt's suppliers have always taken a couple of weeks off. Lithos is the same. The bigger ones like the Gera, the Youngs, the Tabans, they don't have as much, but it still has an impact. So as we're also seeing we're seeing some raw materials shortages coming through, and we're starting to feel the impact of the worldwide chip shortage. So the next 6 months are going to be quite volatile around stock or around product availability. Again, we'll do what we can to keep the right products in stock for you. But bigger projects, orders for projects that you know are coming up, just give us as much notice as possible with the order. If you can, or you want to, have a chat with us and say, look, this is what I'm going to need. I don't need it for a month. And we can work out how the best way to manage that in terms of placing the order with a call-off date or getting it into stock and holding it for you. Don't leave it to the last minute is really the point. If we need to try and get something in a rush and it's not available, or we have to pay express charges from Europe, that's where it really starts to hurt in terms of cost. So just keeping on top of it is key. But other than that, it seems to be going quite well. Touch wood, we hope that continues and we don't have too many delays. All right, moving into some product updates. So there's quite a few here, so we might rattle through them a bit. But the Gera G1's had a firmware update. It's updated via GPA. The version is 3.3.98. The main changes was the ability to restart the device via the data point. But the other one was the temperature not being displayed on the device. If you want to display the room temperature, this is if you're using the X1, the G1 to display the X1. So it's effectively running the app, and you've got the temperature bar along the top. Within GPA, there's an object to link that to the room temperature, or maybe the house temperature if you want to average the values, or maybe the external temperature. That wasn't working properly, so they've fixed a bug for that. And there was it was a problem with KNX operation as well. So not a major update, but some little changes there. I think the real point here is keep things up to date. If you're having issues or things aren't working, make sure you're on the latest firmware versions. Following on from that, the Gera switching actuators, the new ones. There's a new application version for them in ETS. It's not a firmware update. It's just the application that needs to be updated. The version is V2.2. It's not available in the ETS online catalog yet. It needs to be downloaded from the Gera website. It will be available. It's just that there's a longer verification process for that. So we're not quite sure when they'll be available in ETS. there was some issues with the blinds. If you'd linked safety functions and then unlinked them, they were still linked, even though you couldn't see that linking in ETS. And the times that you were setting against blind channels weren't being downloaded properly, so the move and the tilt times weren't working properly. So they've both been fixed. Work on the latest version, but you'll need to download it from the Gira site. The logic on these products, I know I covered it last time, granted that was 6 months ago, but the logic function on these is really impressive. It is a graphic logic editor done through ETS, and it's standalone from the channel function like we've seen in the past. It's pretty impressive. So it means you can do a lot more on the device without needing to go to something like an X1 or an L1 or a ABB logic module or something like that, or Zenio. Obviously, the logic's always been really good. Doing it on the channel is really, really, a simple way of doing it on the device. Jung have the same products. There's two different versions. There's the standard and the comfort. Jung only have a comfort version. Gira have a comfort and standard. We're stocking the comfort version or versions. Because there's the standard version, it just adds complication to the product range. Where it's not, it's a little bit cheaper, but really you might as well go for the full function device. So, pretty impressive, good product. Just watch out though, because they do have the terminals top and bottom, which might change your panel design, your panel layout. So, download the latest version from the Gira download site or from the Gira online catalog, or let me know and I can link you to them. Another one from Gira, the push button sensor 4 is now available in all of the advertised finishes. We've been waiting on a few of them, such as the bronze and the grey matte. All available now, available to order. You've got obviously you've got the inscription version, you've got the normal version, and then the button base comes in the anthracite version or the white version, and that's for the edging around the side of the keypad. So for the white, if you're using a white glass or a pure white glossy, you're going to want the white base. If you're using any of the other finishes, you're going to want the anthracite black one. The stainless steel ones, you'll need to make that decision. They're all inscribable except for the white glass. The white glass is never going to be inscribable. They tested it and they found the visibility of it wasn't to the standard that Gira want to put into the market. So they're all available to be inscribed except for the white glass, but they're available now and again in stock. So and really good feedback from them actually. We're starting to see sales increase of them. I think it's taken a while in terms of projects, but they're a good product. They've got the integrated temperature sensor. They've also got the integrated humidity sensor, and we're starting to see this real trend towards having this more environmental control in the room. How you use that humidity to then control the temperature is still, very dependent on the system installed and whether you've got the ability to adjust the humidity in the room. But it's, getting as much data from the project as possible is the best place to start with that kind of thing. A couple of new products we've got coming up from Gira. They've updated their flush mount actuators. They're moving to screw terminals. Instead of having the flying lead. Now, I think I remember having a conversation with someone a while ago that they really liked the flying lead because it actually made it easier to terminate, and you don't need to worry about the enclosure as much. I'm not sure if that's true, but what do you guys think? Do you think having a flush mount actuator with a flying lead is better for the 230 volt connections, or having a screw terminal is more flexible and easier? Some feedback in the chat, please, just to make sure you guys are paying attention. So the Gira ones are going to be available later in the year. Obviously, we've got existing ones available now. One of the key things, I think, a couple of things that we're starting seeing on all new products, KNX Data Secure. So every new product coming into the market, I'd expect to have KNX Data Secure. And we're getting to the point where we can start to actually use Data Secure. Push button sensor 4's Data Secure. Gira switching actuators, Data Secure. These Data Secure, which means we can make all of the telegrams on the bus secure, as well as the IP secure, which is where we're encoding things within IP security blanket. So whether you're offering it to customers, whether it becomes relevant for you on site, up to you guys, but we're getting to the point now where there are enough products that you could feasibly do a KNX Data Secure project. The other thing we're starting to see device is updatable. The firmware updatable via ETS using the DCA device configuration apps. Again, these work with that. So where before it was very hard to update a KNX device's firmware, unless you had an IP device like a G1, you could do it via GPA. With the increased functionality of the plugins, device configuration apps, the new ones, it's much easier to do them via ETS. So these have that function, and also the new parameters, where we've got a lot more flexibility in functions in the parameters. The parameters on this are aligned with the new switching actuators. I don't think it's going to have logic, but the way that the functions are laid out will match the switching actuators. So if you're doing Gira project, you're going to have a lot more continuity between the different products. So yeah, more information as they become available. The other one Gira started offering is the leakage and dew point sensor, which are a little device, obviously nice little picture there. They are connected to a binary input. There's two different ones for leakage, which is obviously rising water, dripping water, rising on the floor, or dew point, which is condensation. They're different sensors with different characteristic. And there's also a temperature probe function. I don't have the information on this, but we'll have more information soon. The temperature is the bit that I don't know about, because these products have actually been available via Jung for quite a long time. They're both made at Insta. It's the same products, but Jung have had them available for the last 2 years. Gira have only just started offering them. So we actually already have the Jung version in stock. The leakage sensor goes to a binary input. Really easy way of doing leakage detection, maybe in the utility, around the washing machines, could be in the bathroom, put under the cupboard. It's one of those things that is a function you can offer your customers, and you can use it as as part of that sales dialogue. The cost of it's actually not that much in the scheme of things. 70 quid retail for your leakage sensor going to a binary input. You might have a couple of them spare somewhere anyway. But actually being able to say to the customer, we will notify you, we'll give you an alert email, or we'll come to site, or however you're going to deal with it. If there's any leak in the property, is a really nice upsell to the project. And the value of doing it, let's say 100 quid, maybe some programming, 200 quid, whatever, is far less than the benefit that it would offer the customer. So it's part of a suite of functions you can offer the customer, and really powerful in that sales dialogue as to why they need this technology, why they need technology at all, why they need KNX, why they need you as an integrator, because you're able to bring all this together really well. So something quite small and almost throw away in terms of a product actually can have some pretty big benefits for you as an integrator. Right, moving on from Gira, Basalt, the Meadow Remote is available to order today, in theory. It's going to be released, it's going to be available today. I don't have pricing yet because we're waiting for it to be available, but it is available, and we're putting a few into stock, not a huge amount, but we'll certainly have a couple of them if anyone is interested. This completes, well, it doesn't complete, but this makes the Basalt home solution a lot more complete, really. We can now take the Core Mini, have that in a property, and use that for controlling the TV, not only via the app, but via the Basalt remote. It means we can start to do video control as well as just audio control, which we've had thus far. So it's a solid piece of aluminium. It's got a very high resolution screen. It's got fixed buttons, and then you've got the functions on the display. It's got a really nice little joystick, which you can use to navigate the menu or the on-screen display on the TV. And it uses a Thread. I think actually I grabbed this from a previous presentation. They've updated it from Thread, or they're using a newer version of Thread, but it's using a dedicated wireless network. And it's chargeable with Qi, Qi, never quite sure how to say that. So it can be charged on any existing chargers, like, oh my God, this one, for example, boom, done. Yeah, if anyone's speaking to Martin, try and blag one of these out of him. Yeah. Or you can use the Basalt charging base, which is going to be a solid metal in the different finishes, but then it will sit on that, or it could be integrated into furniture or something like that. So it works really well with the Core Mini, because the Core Mini has the integrated Beam Link. Beam Link is the base base functionality, the base reception for the wireless, for the remote. So if you've got a Core Mini, boom, Beamlink and a remote, job done. If you're using the S4, the bigger core, then you need a separate Beamlink module. You can extend the network using Beam nodes, which are powered by 12 or 24 volt. They're not PoE, they can't sit on the network. They need their own DC power supply. And it's about a 10 meter range. So you could build a mesh network using the different nodes to either get from your Core Mini at a central area into, say, the living room, or to extend the range through the house. 10 meters is worst case. That's, they're saying that's your worst case, but it does obviously depend on your wall construction, things like that. And then you'll have the charging base available in all finishes. When I send the email follow-up, which will probably be Monday, I'll have more information and we'll have these published on the website and I can link you to it. So what I really like about the Core Mini and Studio, and I think there's a few guys that have used it already, it's so easy to program. The really big change, you're offering a very similar functionality to an X1 or to a Smart Visu server from Yong or to an ABB Control Touch. But it's so easy to program because you have to add each function like you normally do. But when you import the KNX group address table, you've just got a big list of the group addresses and you've got a list of your functions and you literally just drag them onto it. And, anecdotally, some guys have said that, you can program a Core Mini for, in a quarter of the time to the X1. And having just done it at home for my own little system, I'd agree. It is really easy. But you need to know what you're doing, and that's the difference. The X1 is really easy for someone who hasn't had much experience with KNX or with visualizational control to configure, because it's kind of everything has to be done in a certain order, and it's quite like do this, do this, do this. There's some things you've got to get right, like assign the right data point types, but it's actually quite a simple interface to use. But when you want to try and do things faster, you don't have that same, there's no shortcuts, there's no quick way to do it. And I think that's the difference with Core Mini, is that it doesn't do those beginning steps. You've kind of got to be able to work it out. You got to be a bit smart. You got to know what you're doing. But actually, because of that, it means for a lot of you guys, you'll be able to smash it out a lot quicker. Obviously, the visualization's a bit different. There's a lot of flexibility in the app in terms of the customer being able to create their own scenes, actually genuinely create their own scenes, not like saving their own scenes with fixed channels. The Core Mini enables them to add individual circuits to a scene, set the level and save them. And they can change things like graphics around keypad, around room icons and room names and things like that. So watch this space, really. I think it's quite a powerful, quite a competitive solution now. And with the remote, it's starting to make more sense. Now, it's never going to be able to compete with a Control 4 or a Crestron or a Savannah. It's not designed to. It's designed for installations where you've got a TV, you've got a room of control, you've got Sky. Obviously, if you're using the Basalt Home Asano solution for audio control, that makes sense. But, it's not for distributing AV throughout a whole, 20-bedroom home. But for a lot of the smaller projects where you are just relying on the TV and maybe the apps that are native in the TV for your video streaming, your audio, maybe you've got some couple of zones of Sonos, the Core Mini sits really nicely in that, and it's a nice solution. And the integrations with Basalt have kept going and going and going. They've got a lot of control of AV devices, of AV receivers, and also HDMI matrices are in there as well. They're not on this list, but they are. Direct control of TVs. Obviously, you've got KNX, you've got Philips, Lutron, I'll cover in just a sec. But also door comms, a lot more integrations with door comms. So if you're using an Alley, you can easily integrate to any of your standard door comm solutions you might be using. So Basalt Studio has had an update. The big part of this is the Lutron QS or QSX integration. QS is the existing Homeworks, or the previous one. QSX is the new one. They are different protocols. They're not backwards and forwards compatible. Well done, Lutron. But you can now link a Lutron system for your lighting and shading via the Core Mini to your KNX keypads or your KNX installation. The shading's the big one. Lutron shading, there's no denying, is absolutely the market leader and the top shelf solution. There's lots of other ways you can do it, but Lutron really do set the benchmark for that. Obviously, it's really expensive, but that is the pinnacle. So with the either a Core Mini or a Core S4, the bigger one, you can link the Lutron solution to you've got control of the Lutron solution. How you link it is up to you and the logic. So you could take your KNX keypad, bring that in on a group address, bring that onto the logic page, and have that trigger your Lutron blinds or your Lutron lighting. It's not two-way in the sense of having Lutron keypads controlling KNX dimmers. I mean, I don't think anyone would really go down that route. But that's not the way it works. But it's very easy. You just add Lutron Homeworks into the Studio software. You tell if it's QS or QSX, you point at the MAC address, discover the Lutron system, username and password. There's some integration configurations you need to do on the Lutron side to enable the integrations, to tell it that you're using a third-party integration. And then the rest of it, you just program in Logic. So really, really big step forward for integrating different systems together. Basalt have the existing Lutron RS485 keypads, so Sentido or Fibonacci, that can be used on a Lutron system. That's different. That's using the serial hub to create an RS485 line with keypads on it, sitting on an RS485 bus, coming back to the hub, and then the hub integrates to a Lutron system. Nothing to do with KNX, completely standalone. That is still available. That works for Homeworks QS. It doesn't work on QSX. They're developing a new a new serial link, which will work with the Core Mini. So you'll need a Core Mini, you'll have the serial device, and then you'll have your the RS485 line, and then you'll effectively use this integration to be able to link the two together. So that's to come, but for now you've got a good solution. Simon, can you get the temperatures from the Palladium keypads? I don't know. I don't think so, because it's not Lutron keypads coming back into the solution. I don't think you can create the virtual keypads from the Lutron side. I'll need to check and find out, but I don't think so, because it's so you can have effectively KNX keypads controlling your Lutron system. If you've got Palladium keypads coming back, it's a good question, because then we can have a Lutron system with KNX HVAC. I'll find out for you on that one. It'd be nice if it could, because it would provide a good level of integration. So I'll find out, but I don't think it can at the moment. Some other updates as part of this Studio update, version 5.1, eKey integration. So if you're using eKey fingerprint scanners, you can use them in Logic. So you could have a scan that then triggers KNX actions, or even triggers Lutron actions. Why not? eKey is quite readily available in the market, so it's not something we distribute, but it is quite a neat solution. They've added Schuko door phone support. They've added Arcam AVR support. They've updated the Yamaha AV integration to offer all the controls of more control of Yamaha inputs. They support the newer NAS file shares, and there's some changes to the stability of the Studio platform. So yeah, good solution. If anyone's not kind of up to speed with Basalt, Basalt World is the online kind of database for Basalt. If you're not registered on there, you can sign up on the website, but the best thing to do is send us a link at the same time, and we'll let them know, because they do try to limit access, because they don't want everybody in the market to be able to get the information, which is great for you guys. But if you let us know you've registered, then we can tie the two together. We've had a pretty big change on Basalt in terms of pricing. Basalt have a published UK retail price. We always had a higher price. We've now matched that retail price, and we've kept our discount the same. So you're now able to, we've effectively on a lot of Basalt products reduced the price by 10%. So it's more competitive against other keypads. It's also the Core Mini is priced at about the same as an X1 and an S1 from Gera, funnily enough. And it offers the same functionality, because you've got remote access via the Basalt Basalt Live, their online portal. If you are going to be doing remote access with Core Mini, you do need an IP interface in the project. The bus link, the Core Mini is connected directly to the bus, but you can't actually use that for programming. You need a separate IP interface in the project. We've got Core Mini in stock. We're going to have the remotes in stock soon. So something to have a look at. If you're interested, give us a call. We can have a chat about it. But yeah, it's a really neat solution and offers an alternative to some of the others in the market. That being said, there's nothing wrong with the solutions that we currently sell, of course. Right, moving on. So Tabin have released a new product, which is pretty bloody cool. It's called the Pixar. It has a camera sensor, optical sensor. It doesn't record images. There's no storage of the images or anything like that, so it's fully secure in that sense. But it has it gives you the ability to see what's happening in the room. You can see it's got quite a big detection zone, 171 meters squared. And in that zone, you can break it up into 6 zones. It's very similar to the HPD2 from Steinel, the human presence detector, similar function, similar technology. But the beauty of this is it is actually able to, once you've created your zones, it can do person count in each zone, so how many people in each of the zones. It's got integrated thresholds, so you can say if more people are in that zone than should be, might be the whole room's one zone, of course, but if more people's in there than there should be, an alert of a trigger on KNX group address, there's 3 activation zones for that. So that could be for counting the number of people, to do an alert, maybe audio alert, a video alert, visual alert. It could be increasing ventilation. It could be used for linking via, say, an API to an app which tells you how busy your gym is, things like that. So 6 zones. In that zone, it can manage the motion and presence. It can do brightness control. It can do constant light control, and it's got HVAC outputs. So it's effectively giving you a presence, all of that functionality, a presence detector, plus the camera and the people sensing. And you can interlink devices together. So you can cover a bigger area by linking different devices together. So you could have a count across the whole of quite a big space using them. So pretty interesting product in that sense. It is a 230 volt product. It is not powered by the bus. You do need 230 at each of the positions. And yeah, I think it's great. Available now. It's on the website, 280 quid, which I think is a cracking price given technology. Yeah, Ben, is it good for high bay? I don't know the maximum height on it. I will update you in the follow-up email. Those zones are obviously at 4.5 meters height. It should be able to. It's just an image. Maybe the count becomes less accurate, but let me check and I'll come back to you. Another little update from the Tabin is the Prima. There's now a air quality version. So they've taken the existing Prima, they've changed it to be a multi-sensor. So it has the normal presence detection. It's quite a good presence detector, square detection area, 9 by 9 meters at a 3 meter mounting height. So really good for offices. But they've included an air quality sensor, which enables them to do the CO2 level, the relative humidity, the temperature, and the air pressure. And it's got an integrated thermostat. It's got lots of binary inputs. I don't know what that last one is, linked. Maybe it's just me deleting things, but it can be interlinked. Yeah, like you would with most PIRs. Real, pretty obvious that Tabin are slightly behind the curve of Steinel, but they're catching up and they're bringing out these new functions. You know, this compared to the True Presence or the multi-sensor, which we're going to look at in just a second. Yeah, this is behind it. The Pixar, however, is taking it forward. In terms of functionality, it is more functional than the HPD2, which is wall mounted and can do presence count, but doesn't do much of this presence control as well as the Pixar does, or the Pixar appears to. So, you know, having them in the ceiling is so much easier. The HPD2 is also a bit of a difficult one to configure because you've got to connect via USB effectively, whereas this is done by the bus. So yeah, good product and a real, right now, being able to offer something, particularly on commercial jobs, we can say, look, we can come in and make your building COVID safe, but also prepare it for the future. There will be another pandemic at some point. We don't know when. Might not be in our lifetimes, but being able to use a KNX system to provide a robust infrastructure that can adapt over time to the changing conditions of the world is a pretty powerful sales message, more relevant for commercial. But getting into these light commercial projects and things that are being specified now are going to be specified with this type of technology. So good chance to own that market. I mentioned Steinel. They've updated their multi-sensor to include an aerosol. Well, they've called it aerosol, but it uses the sensing of the device around CO2, humidity, and temperature to give an output of the quality of the air. Now, it's not reading the presence of pathogens in the air, but it's able to make some pretty strong assumptions that if the humidity is high and the temperatures is high and the CO2 is high, that there is going to be a higher viral load in the building, a higher risk of infection. So it's about saying the air quality is good or the air quality is bad. I was in the pub a couple of weeks ago with a friend who is at high risk of COVID because of some other illness. And we sat outside and we went in the pub because it got a bit cold, and we were in there for a while and it felt fine because there was a couple of other people in there. We were chatting, having a good time. And then it got a bit busy, and then it got a bit busier again. And all of a sudden you could kind of feel the tension in the room if you were paying attention and not had too much to drink, because there was just more people than there really should be. And there wasn't enough air movement. And you can tell almost straight away. And so we went back outside. This automates that and enables you to provide that information to someone maybe on a display. So pretty cool and a pretty big step forward from Steinel. It gives you a percentage output of the quality of the air in the room, which you could then do some graphics with, like we've got on display here. So there's two products for this. There's the KNX multi-sensor aerosol, which is just reading the environmental sensing. So the temperature, humidity, air pressure, VOC, volatile organic compounds, that's part of the calculation as well. So I should have said that. The CO2 and the light level. And then you've got the true presence version, which has all of the above, but includes the human presence detection using that microwave functionality. So it's able to tell you, tuned to the movement of a human chest. So is there a person breathing in the room? That's actually what it's telling you. It's not telling you someone's moving or something warm is moving or it was cold and now it's warm. It's telling you there is someone breathing in this room, which is a pretty amazing technology. And now it includes this aerosol functionality. Unfortunately, the way the product works, and to include this aerosol function, it's more than just a firmware update. So existing True Presence products can't be updated for this. You do have to buy this new product. But it is available now. Quite an interesting step forward, really, I think, in terms of what we can achieve in a building and how we can control a building. So between the Pixar, the Prima, and the Steinel ones, we've got there a really strong product set that enables us to have to play a role really in protecting people's health and their well-being and wellness. In the follow-up email, I'm going to send a link to two different articles. One is to a white paper by Antisis on using air handling and air conditioning to manage the air quality in the room. Just turning up the air conditioning doesn't always help. If you haven't got the right type of filter, you're just moving air around, you're potentially making it worse. Fresh air is obviously more important, but it talks about that a little bit in this article. And I'm also going to link to the wellness article that we talked about a few years ago. The concept of wellness in buildings and being able to sell wellness is something that you offer in terms of making sure buildings are not only energy efficient, fun to use, but also good for the occupants and now safe as well in terms of our own safety around illness. So I'll link to them, definitely worth a read and good reference articles if you're in a sales dialogue with someone. Right, last one. Lithos have launched a Britannica range. Now we're still getting all the information and piecing it together, but basically, we've now got keypads that are designed for UK back boxes. The existing ones do fit on UK boxes, but now we can do a double gang, can have more functionality. But also, we've got 230-volt accessories, so we can do sockets and some data outlets as well. We always have been able to with inserts, but this is just a more complete range. So there's a new catalog out. We're still working on the pricing and getting all that information together. But as soon as we do, we'll update you. And they've got a new configurator on the website, which enables you to configure the products. Lithos is highly configurable. We publish the standard products just because it's easier, but you can actually do a lot of customization around your buttons. You can integrate lights into the keypads. You can have mixed functionality on the same device. It's a pretty powerful, pretty flexible range. And it's something that we're, I think it looks fantastic, and it's not something that's done a huge amount in the UK. So it does provide a bit of a different type of control than what we see from other manufacturers. And I think that flexibility, being able to offer people different styles, different designs, is really important, and something we're trying to maintain in terms of having a spread of different designs available. So one to look out for. More information coming, and I'll share a link to the catalog in the follow-up. Right, unless there's any more questions, that means we are done. Thank you very much. Like I said, we'll try and do these a bit more frequently going forward. Get in touch if you need anything. Obviously, Craig, Pete and I are still working hard to support you. It's best to use these emails because then all of us can get it and all of us can reply. If you've got any questions or any concerns or anything like that, please just reach out to us. I don't know if anyone's heading there, but I will be popping by ISE on Wednesday next week just to see how many people are there more than anything. But I'll be there Wednesday morning. If anyone's around, grab me and we can have a catch up. Thank you all. I'll get the video out on Monday probably for those who have just finished watching the video. Hopefully you can attend next time live so we can get you on the chat. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. Cheers, everyone.